This is the Woodford Lovell C550 and it's Woodford's first inset stove. Hi, I'm Gabriel. My family have always done stoves. We've had the biggest stove companies and the smallest. I've been the warehouseman, the delivery boy, the fitter, the salesman, the managing director, and now I'm
no longer a managing director.
They're making this stove in 3 different sizes. The small Lovell 400, this 550, and then the big 700 wide version. They both have a grate and a removable ash pan, and they also have these internal funnel pieces that can be removed to when you're burning wood, but funnel coal into the centre, into the grate. So this is very much a multi-fuel appliance. It's also, being an inset stove, dominated by this huge glass area. It's entirely made from steel and has a full convection system all the way around, so we're getting convected air, and that's how it's heating the room. Okay, let's light it. This is a multi-fuel stove where all the air can come up from underneath the grate, and that should make this stove very, very easy to light. Leave it just on the latch. I shut the door after a quarter of an hour and it was up to temperature in 20 minutes. This is a stove that likes to gallop and run quite hot, so keeping it clean is really easy. We haven't had any issue keeping the glass clean, save like a log falling against the glass, which was just my fault. In terms of efficiency, it runs at just over 75%, so it's not, you know, spectacular, but it's still eco-design and DEFRA approved. The little DEFRA kit is actually quite easy to remove as well, which I think is really helpful. The stove doesn't need reloading right now, but I've got no issue with smoke coming into the room, so that's good. It has also got a little latch here for when you're lighting it. So rather than the door sort of swinging open of its own accord, it's got a little latch that just allows you to get it going, and then a proper catch on the handle. The handle just stays down here, you know, even with the stove at full temperature. I can hold it with a bare hand, it's all right. It's not super refined, but it's got a satisfying clunk. Initially I was a little disappointed because you don't get a tool for operating the controls, and it doesn't come with a glove either. But to be fair, even with the stove hot, I haven't had an issue using this with just my bare hand. I'm sure a glove is a good idea, but you know, like the main controls are all stay cool, which is fantastic. They're relatively crude and simple, not, you know, beautifully finished, but they're functional and they do their job perfectly, and they're relatively discreet, which is the point with this sort of appliance. In terms of controllability, this is fully open to the right. The primary air is this one. If you pull that across, not a whole lot of difference noticeable. If you've got the DEFRA kit installed, you can only pull this one across that far. It doesn't really make any difference. But if you've got the DEFRA kit off, then the stove has a respectable amount of control. So yeah, overall I gave this a sort of 4 to 5 out of 10. It's nothing special in terms of the controls, but everything works well, and the fact that they stay cool is great. The main thing that let it down was with the DEFRA kit in, you've got very little in terms of control. We do a real-world test of fuel economy on stoves by getting them up to operating temperature and then burning a single net of kiln-dried ash on them to see how long they'll maintain at operating temperature. With the DEFRA kit installed, this stove did it for 6 to 7 hours, which was all right. But if you remove the DEFRA kit, you can get a couple hours more out of it, which is more helpful because with the DEFRA kit, you're controlling it more by how much fuel you put on as opposed to how much you close the air vents. Its multi-fuel design does assist with lighting, but if you're burning wood, it does also make it a little bit greedier and run a little bit faster. I also wish it controlled a little bit more because then I don't have to reload it every hour. I can load it up and shut it down and clear off for a while. But of course the flip side is these stoves are designed with aesthetics in mind. The whole point is that you don't have a smouldering, boring thing in your contemporary plain wall. It's that you've got a busy, exciting fire and it looks fantastic. So to be fair, its target audience is really well catered for. If you're after a fantastic focal point, a clean statement for the room in the evenings or when people are around, this thing will be clean, exciting, have loads of flames, and to be fair, you'll also get loads and loads of heat. That is until you'll have to reload it, which will be every hour.